Hello and welcome back to Hogwarts Legacy with a 4070 Ti, and to be fair, after the whole cycle of patching the game and performance fixes and whatnot, I've noticed something very interesting. The last time we launched this game it was with the 3070 Ti, and you know, apart from being forced to use DLSS on Ultra Performance to actually get some sort of performance in, which luckily been addressed, I've noticed that now there's something else, considering I have a 4070 Ti now. First and foremost, when you first launch the game, and just stay with me here for a second, when you go for the settings, and let's just touch briefly on this so we can move on. I'm trying to play this on 4K native, no upscale type. NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency is on by default because that's required for this frame generation. Frame rate is set to maximum 360. We got everything maxed out and the GPU is detected. If we go for the graphical settings, everything's as per recommended. So there is a slider we can toggle, but you know, recommended is recommended. All of this is off. Ray tracing is off, right? And the first time you launch the game and it automatically does a benchmark, the FPS boost you get is around 100. No noticeable changes made to the settings. The problem is, once you exit the game and you relaunch it again, you lost about 50% of your frames. I was on this screen 15 minutes ago with 100 frames. And I thought, okay, you know what, I launched the first benchmark sequence. I was like, okay, and I was like, holy guacamole, it's running perfect. It's perfect. Ray tracing, reflections, everything's enabled, all good. And I was like, wow, this is the win for the 4070 Ti. And then I relaunched the game because, you know, reasons. And, well, here we are. I turned off the ray tracing reflections. And even with that, we're not even hitting 60 at the selection screen. So I think there's something still going on. Now, watch this. Since we're pushing the game, look at this. GPU usage 97-98%. We're pulling 9.2 gigs of RAM, video memory, 14 actual RAM. We're getting 24 frames. I think something in regards applying the graphical settings for the game is not really working well, because if I would restart the game just now, just hard restart, we might end up with about 35 frames. So if I now go in and let's say I enable DLSS, frame generation will be on 96, 97. But the funny thing is, and this is this is a stone into the frame generation garden. Look at this. We're playing in 4K, but the rendering resolution of the game is cut to full HD. You see where I'm going with this? I mean, this is an automatic setting. It's just, it is so, I think they literally, I mean, I'm not saying it's not working. It works. You can play it. It looks great. Our ray tracing is enabled, but the back end of how they achieve it is what really kind of ticks me off a bit. Like, what kind of resolution is 4041? That's 1 pixel above 2K. I mean, I think the math is completely off on the something is still kind of not really connecting the cogs, if you know what I mean. Like, this is weird. Like, and automatic is full HD. I mean, granted, it looks fine, it looks perfect, but if essentially the quality should be kind of a bit more. So what is ultra performance then? 720p. 720p from 4K. I mean, I'm pretty sure if I set my base resolution to 720p, I would probably get more than 130 frames to begin with, but I mean, either the Nvidia and DLSS has gone to the extreme where a human mind is unable to understand it, or I'm just losing the plot here. Either way, I would say let's leave it as it is and see what we get. So it's just, you know, it's just how it is. So we have RTX enabled, it is DLSS with frame generation on quality mode, so let's see what we get. It is indeed that simple. I still don't get my head around why the first launch of the game gave me perfect performance and best settings all on ultra, and this doesn't, but you know, I'm not gonna dwell on it too long. It's just something I noticed, and
take this.
Either way, you know, end of the day, why not?
You in a second.
What happened?
Poor George. I can't believe he... What the hell got into that damn thing? Attacking a carriage mid-air? A typical dragon would never...
Professor? Sir, where are we?
I'm not sure. But that key you discovered was clearly a port key.
Port key?
An item enchanted to bring whoever touches it to a specific place.
I'm feeling better, sir, if you'd like to look around a bit.
I would. But stay close. We've no idea who created this port key. Or why.
So as you can see on DLSS on quality, we did get a dip below 60 frames, so for enclosed environment, that's not too great. GPU usage is completely inconsistent, but we've seen this before, so that's not addressed, surprisingly enough.
How far did that port key take us?
Farther from London than the carriage travelled. We're somewhere in the Scottish Highlands.
Sir, those ruins. Do you
The
think...
port key was meant to lead us there? I do. This has not been the day either of us expected. But Miriam sent that port key to George for a reason. And I believe that she, and now George, died in pursuit of whatever it was meant to lead to. If you're sure you're all right, and wouldn't mind indulging me, I'd like to have a look around.
Absolutely, sir.
Good. Let's see if we can find a path, however faded it may be.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the game feels snappy and everything, and ever since I've beaten the game, I actually do have a reason to say this is absolutely playable. But the GPU usage is something that I'm still scratching my head on, because when you first launched the game, the GPU usage in terms of VRAM was about 10 gigs. So 4070 Ti does have 12 gigs to play around with. And now with the DLSS on, we're pulling 8.8, which is, you know, granted, lower resolution, upscaled, you're gonna use less video memory. However, the RAM usage have not changed since 3070 Ti days. We're still pulling 15 gigs out of the bat, and I'm pretty sure if I took the broom and I went above the Forbidden Forest, we would see 18 and 19 and 20 gigs of RAM. So certain things are still not exactly as I would expect them to be.
Where do you suppose your wife got the port
But still, you know,
key, does it?
technically it is 4K, while it's not exactly 4K if you follow my drift.
A long-forgotten form of ancient magic.
Ancient magic?
Yes, a powerful magic wielded by a rare few.
And again, the RTX, well, is working, I guess.
Hogwarts Castle
I can kind of see my own reflection, plus shadows as well, because everything's ray traced now. So it's putting an extra strain on GPU, granted, but at the same time, I don't know, it's just feels a bit odd, you know? Like, I'm not saying the PS5 is pushing 4K HDR 60 frames without any
So,
downsampling, but
wife searching for evidence
for a
of lost
PC, and it's been a while now, you know, it's not like the day one, week one, month one. This game's been around for what, like almost nearly half a year now. It's a bit odd, but the performance is there,
no different than any power.
despite some...
What really matters is the one who wields it.
Come on, let me shatter it.
It's not cold enough here. It appears to be a sort of enchantment. Someone wanted to block this path. Let's see some of that one work you were practicing. Focus on the center. Excellent!
Excellent. Okay.
That was a bit rougher than I'd expected.
Right, you know what? I think... we need to do exactly as we should. And turn off the DLSS. So now we're talking 99%, 98% of usage, 10 gigs of video RAM being pulled, 16 gigs of RAM and glorious sub 30 frames. I mean, it's almost like this game's been designed with DLSS in mind, because for any non-RTX card, so we're talking literally about anything up until 2000 series for Nvidia, will be essentially stuck on full HD if you want any sort of performance. Now, I understand that 4K is demanding. I'm not denying that. But if you look at the CPU usage, I wouldn't say we're getting pegged on all cores anyway. And the GPU is just... like, the GPU time is 33 milliseconds. That is huge. And this is DirectX 12. I mean, to be fair, what I feel is missing in this title is a choice between DirectX 11 and a Vulkan API. Because, in all honesty, every single title I've played with DirectX 12, it gives worse performance than DirectX 11. And I know someone's gonna come on strong and say, oh, it's because of the Denuvo. It's wrecking your PC's performance and everything's going very badly, which I would, you know, agree to an extent. I'm not saying, you know, it's always been the case, but there is some merit to this claim. At the same time, look at the video memory. We're pulling 11 gigs now. It's just... I'm a little bit lost. I know that the ray tracing takes away a lot of performance of the game and, you know, everything like that. And, well, technically I need to restart the game, but at the same time, look at the frames we're gonna gain instantly just by supposedly toggling it on off without even restarting the game. This is mind-blowing, because for a game that runs absolutely fine on PS5, being forced to play around with these settings, it just seems like a little bit of a waste of time. You know, it's just odd. Sub 30, and the game doesn't even look any different. So let's look at this. So there's reflections right here. You see this kind of like the plank and the wet surface? Watch this. And this is why I would say I am a fan of DLSS to an extent. I'm not saying it's, you know, the best thing since sliced bread, but either way. Frame generation on, DLSS on auto. Okay, you know what? Let's put it back on quality as it was. Okay. It's still wet, and it looks exactly the same. So what gives? So end of the day, I mean, if little tiny details like this, and it's important to understand, and I know there's a lot of tests in regards DLSS, upscaling, downscaling, artifacting, and stuff like this. But if there's no visual difference for this particular, well, asset, I would rather say, or the texture on the ground with a wet surface with this plank, what difference you can expect to see if you actually use the DLSS in game? Which, granted, you might actually see some form of artifacting here and there. But are you really gonna go and hunt for the artifact during your gameplay, or are you just gonna focus on the game? Because, you know, for the game itself, it's gonna suck you into the point you're not even gonna think about DLSS to do anything.
Steady yourself.
And at the same time, this is the one point. What's the point of DLSS 3 and the frame generation if it needs to cut the resolution down to full HD? It's like dark magic for me, you know, because if you know how DLSS 3 works and where it generates the frames from, like the interlaced 2 frames in between, which it takes from the scene or whatever is being rendered on the screen and then produces the high upscaled image. My question is, if we are so dependent on this technology, how come the GPU usage right now is 88% and we're still getting 104 frames? That doesn't make sense to me. And we're still pulling 16 gigs of RAM even though the GPU RAM usage drops from 11 gigs to 9. I don't see any diminishes in the quality. I don't know if I'm making my point clear, but I think there is some very interesting performance tweaks, and the hotfixes that were applied actually goes deeper than the release notes for the patches, because it wasn't like this when the game launched, and it sure as hell wasn't this good.
That portkey led us here for a reason. Let's have a
So
look
I'm
for anything
quite
that-
curious. Now, obviously, now we're gonna go into some very high reflective area where the RTX or ray tracing will shine its best. But hey ho, you know, it's what we're here for. It's just, I think the long story short is 4070 Ti cannot max this game out without any upscaling in 4K Ultra with ray tracing enabled. I think that's like what I'm really trying to get across. But all the technology within is just allowing it to happen, you know?
Why would someone have conjured that enchanted stone here?
And how is there a room behind it?
What room? I don't see anything.
There's that glow again, like the glow on the portkey container.
What in Merlin's name? Godric's heart.
Where are we?
I don't believe it.
Here we go, real-time ray traced reflections of everything. All the little tiny dust particles, all of this is here. I don't see any blurriness. Nothing's washed out, everything's sharp, nice, good looking. GPU, just doing nothing.
Hello?
How come?
It can't be. Just a moment. Ooh. Welcome to Gringotts Wizarding Bank. Vault number 12, I presume. Precisely.
The key?
Hmm?
Your wife's portkey.
Oh, yes, of course. This way, then. Stay close. After you.
Keep your hands inside the cart if you don't wish to lose them.
How many vaults are there in Gringotts?
Hundreds. In fact, you'll see quite a few on our way to vault number 12. As we speak, we're just beneath the main lobby. The vaults you see now are the newest.
Are private entrances to the bank common at Gringotts?
They are most uncommon. Only one with great wealth or power, or both, could have arranged for such a service. You'll want to take a breath.
A what? That waterfall washes away all enchantments. It's a security measure.
Experienced the thief's downfall before, have you?
Heard of it?
These are the lower vaults that we're passing now.
How deep are we going?
Vault number 12 was commissioned shortly after Gringotts was founded over 4 centuries ago. It resides in the deepest part of the bank. Settle in. We've quite a distance to go.
Vault number?
Vault 12. Momentous day.
On your way.
Professor, the armband that guard was wearing was glowing.
Like the glow you saw on the portkey container?
No, darker. I saw that same glow on the dragon's collar.
Yeah, what was that?
We were just wondering about that goblin back there.
He watches over the oldest section of the bank. Rare anyone goes there anymore. Here we are.
It's quite refreshing to see that the game actually looks good and actually runs well.
Stationed at my desk for hundreds of years. In that time, no one has visited Vault 12 until today.
I mean, would this game need a DLSS 3 and frame generation? I wouldn't say so, but you know, at the same time, hey, we have the technology, why not use it? Specifically if your GPU is able to pull it, so... At the same time, as long as the DLSS 2 is working fine for anything below 4000 series, I would say, you know, why not? The game is looking good, but at the same time, a little bit disappointed that the 4070 is unable to just max this game out. I mean, it has more RT cores, it's more made for reflections and lightning, and it somehow doesn't do the job. Or does it? Maybe it's just the game is not optimized well enough for now?
Professor?
I mean, it definitely runs better, but I can see exactly the same things as before with the 3070 Ti, and this is what makes me a little bit cautious here.
Revelio, perhaps?
Revelio?
Yes, a revealing charm. No time like the present. Let's see what we're missing, shall we? Ready your wand and focus.
Revelio. There! I saw something.
Move a bit closer and try again.
A door.
Well, that's a start. There's that symbol again. I don't suppose you see a way to...
I do, Professor. That symbol has the same glow as the one I saw on the portkey container.
If what you can see reveals the way forward, Then I dare say we are about to discover the secret of this vault. Lead the way. Lumos! This is no ordinary vault. I suspect we will need to earn our way out of here.
What do you mean, earn our way out? Do you think this is some sort of test?
I do. But to what end, I can't say. Stay close. There will be no disapparating if things go poorly. Not out of Gringotts.
Revelio. I see something up ahead.
What is it?
That glow again, but on the floor.
Lumos! What happened?
When I moved towards the glow, it suddenly seemed as if the ground was swirling about.
Are you all right?
Yes, sir, I'm fine.
You seem to have caused the floor to change.
That statue.
What statue?
I see some sort of statue, but only as a reflection in the floor. Revelio.
I presume this is what you saw reflected in the floor.
It is. The reflection's still there, but the statue's positions don't match. Wait. When you moved, the reflection turned in the direction of the light.
Perhaps you should cast Lumos.
Lumos.
Well done.
Now the reflection is turning towards me. It does follow the light.
Now we can finally see some combat and see where this goes.
Protego!
Accio! Descendo! Levioso! Deposo! Expulso! Deposo! Stupido! Protego! Confrido! Levioso! Stupido! Protego! Expulso! Lumos! Stay close!
Well, that wasn't too bad, I guess.
Professor! Professor Fig! Professor, where are you? This isn't good. Where am I supposed to go? What's happening? The wisps of magic seem to be leading me somewhere. Ah, that's where they're leading me. That glow again. Lumos. Revelio. I suppose I'm on my own this time. To align these statues with their reflections. Revelio. Lumos. It seems I have no choice. I'm going to have to fight my way out of here. Protego! Stupid! Revelio. Lumos.
There you are. How did you... What is this place?
I don't know. But I found this floating above that basin.
That is no mere basin. That is a pensive for viewing memories. I wonder... Follow my lead. That's what you're seeing. Oh!
Okay, let's fast forward to this, because it's just a bunch of cutscenes. So,
Are you all right?
it's been half an hour now, actually, a bit more than that, and honestly, I kind of think that things are a little bit
We have a sorting ceremony to get to.
interesting, as I said. Now, technically, yes, for 4K, DLSS 3 and frame generation would work, but you are essentially downscaling this to full HD. At the same time, if that allows you to play this game with high frame rate, and I don't see too much of a loss of a graphical fidelity, because to be fair, all those cutscenes, all that combat was fluid, looked great, and as you can see on the screen, it actually does look great nevertheless. Why not? However, the question still kinda stays, I would say, because end of the day, I mean, we are just witnessing this as of now, so I don't think the game is there yet, you know? I'm pretty sure we should be able to use some of this to an extent. But even with the top tier GPU, and you know, 4070 Ti is no slow card, we're still getting this. It's just a little bit bizarre, you know, when you think about it.
Oh, good. We haven't missed the sorting ceremony. I'm no expert, but that seems more appropriate. Now, I need to study this locket as soon as I can, but first I must contact the Ministry. They need to know what happened to George and be warned of Ranrock. For the moment, I ask that you keep all that's happened this evening between you and me.
Of course, sir.
Thank you. Ready for the sorting ceremony? Phineas, Nigellus, Black.
Professor Weasley, we've one more.
Ah, yes. A bit older than the others, aren't you? You
Right, let's explore.
Looking forward to exploring Hogwarts.
I like ambition. To be fair, you can do these choices as you see fit anyway. And I'm a Slytherin. I think good enough. Anyway, guys, I think that's all I have for you. And also we're ending at stuttering 19 frames. Wow. there you have it. I was right. RAM being pulled 21 gigs in a pre-rendered cutscene with 11 gigs of video memory.
Injury on the pitch in last spring's final, this year's Quidditch season has been cancelled. So
if you still think there is no memory leak and you can get away with 16 gigs of RAM, think twice. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. Thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something new. Over and out.
Looks like everyone's gone. Better head to the common room.